This is The Process Shot. I'm Michael. I'm stuck in a haunted movie theater, and I've seen Sweetback's Baadasssss Song, a somewhat surreal drama made in 1971 from director Melvin Van Peebles. Sweetback has been put through the ringer all his life, starting from his youth as an orphan living in a brothel, and into his adulthood, now a performer at that brothel in an exploitative sex show. He's arrested by LAPD with the plan to accuse him of a crime but release him for lack of evidence. But after the arrest and brutality against a Black Panther leads to Sweetback putting the two cops into comas, he becomes the police department's top priority. As Sweetback makes his way to the southern border, cutting through a cross-section of the city and its impoverished black community, the cops carve their own path of terror to try and find him before his escape can cause an uprising. Obviously, the movie has a position to take on contemporary issues, and it is not subtle about it at all. It's a story that comes from personal experience, and it goes the extra mile to make sure you feel every bit of repression and violence that the filmmakers have felt in their own lives. And naturally, there's a bit of an exaggeration in all of this, mostly when it comes to how the police are portrayed, but it's less about reflecting reality and more about the world that would allow this story to happen. Not to mention the other signs of oppression and inequality we only get glimpses of over the runtime. The story is a bit disjointed at times as a result, with a general structure of Sweetback running from place to place to either hide out or escape, but it still makes for a great and overarching look at the lengths he has to go to find sanctuary. It becomes a character story of one man against the world, seeing opposition from the authorities who want to see their corrupted idea of justice made real, but also from his own people who want to be left alone, knowing that even the slightest bit of involvement would probably bring the cops down on them as well. It's no surprise that the only help he's able to find comes from black revolutionaries and whites who are already on the edge of society. The actual production values seem to reflect this, or at least it doesn't try to hide the conditions of the world. It's pretty clearly shot on location in the streets and fields of Los Angeles, putting you right in the middle of the life and times of the characters, and making the dangers that Sweetback faces all the more real. The sense of actuality is contrasted through the film's editing style, which takes an overall approach towards something more experimental or even psychedelic, giving the actual visuals a dark and confusing haze of light and imagery, at a few times cutting within scenes and between shots for what seems like emphasizing those feelings of confusion and Sweetback's literal loss of everything he once had, as little as it actually was. The film's use of music cements this theme, providing a wilder, funkadelic soundtrack from Earth, Wind, and Fire throughout these early city scenes, but eventually giving way to somewhat traditional and certainly rebellious chants for his freedom as he pushes closer to the border. It's a gradual shift that effectively reflects Sweetback's journey from oppression to freedom, a journey that the filmmakers seem to have hoped would become a reality for others. Sweetback's Baadasssss Song. Melvin Van Peebles, 1971. 4.5 stars. I'd definitely say to give it a watch. That's it for me. If you liked this review, leave it a like. If you didn't, leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel for more in the future. I think it's safe to say that this movie was essentially the first blaxploitation film. Then again, if that's the case, then the genre really went off the rails right away.